What makes a perfect quarterback prospect? That's our first question here coming in from Arvada Luke, who says, Hank, I'd remind you of our deal. Better keep hating on them Chiefs. You've been doing a decent job, though. Remember the last time we played the Super Bowl champs, we won. So by the transitive property, ... Todd for GM is my vote. All the mock drafts people are putting on Twitter smack of desperation. I think we need to embrace the suck. Sean Payton has demonstrated he can get a team in contention for the first pick. All right. If you didn't count physical attributes or statistics, what intangibles would a dream number 1 overall quarterback pick look like for each of you?
Someone that can diagnose defenses really well. I think that's the number one key. I think you even heard of Tom Brady talk about it on his podcast. He was like, the narrative has changed from quarterbacks going up there and seeing the defense and then being able to make adjustments to put us in the best call versus this defense to guys just coming up and running plays. And it may literally be the worst play for the defense that's in front of them, but guys are just so conditioned just to come up and run what's supposed to be ran. I think that a quarterback that can recognize defenses is great because they can put you into a great pass play, but they can also put you into a great run play and allow your running game to be successful based off of a loaded box versus a small box, based off of single high versus two high. They can see all of that and put your team in the best position to win.
Totally. I think that's totally right. You know, last time we did one of these mailbags, the people in the comments really shredded me for what I said about Shedeur Sanders. I want to talk a little bit more about Shedeur Sanders right now and say that he has a lot of that stuff. Like, what you want to see, I think, from a quarterback prospect is what you said, like the ability to recognize what's in front of you, but then also know how to take advantage of it. You know, when you see off coverage on the outside, know that you can trust your receiver to just run a little curl, just convince him to turn his back, bang, just hit it right behind him. You know, there's a bunch of that sort of stuff that I really think translates well. I remember a couple years ago, I think it was Troy Aikman talking about playing with Michael Irvin and how they just knew that if they isolated him on one side of the field, got one-on-one coverage, they just go to that the entire game. And so whether it's the deep ball downfield or countering off that with a comeback or quick little slant underneath or the out behind that, like I think that there's this cat and mouse game that good quarterbacks know how to play with a good receiver. I think that that's something that you want to see happen in college, because I think that's kind of the only way you can prove that you can do it. I think Shedeur does a lot of that sort of stuff where he looks at the defense, sees who has space, see what the leverage is, and then picks his route, picks his matchup. So I totally agree there. Let's put 3:03 on the clock. We've got 3 questions that we're going to hit in here and get through all of these in about a minute. From Defender96. Morning, guys. Longtime supporter here that thinks you're doing a great job. Listening to discussion over who gets cut or restructured this offseason, hearing Henry mention that the Wilson situation doesn't affect the cap next year has me wondering, couldn't the front office know this cap situation would occur and have been planning for this since last year? Feels like buying that new car and knowing you won't be able to make your house payment next month. Maybe I'm missing something, but that seems like cap management 101. I could start here and basically say, I don't know when front offices hear what the cap situation will be, but I don't think that it's all that far in advance, because I mentioned this on the podcast, but Mike Florio reported a week or so, a few days before the news broke, that in front offices, they thought it'd be 242, 243. Somebody said closer to 250, but then it turns out to be 255. If teams knew what the situation would be, that would get leaked. Like, that's not the kind of thing that they keep secret. They would tell Mike, like, hey, yeah, we think it's going to be 255. The fact that it doesn't come out from anywhere means that teams don't know. Because if teams knew, again, that's 10 people on each team that know that times 32 teams. There's 320 people who'd have to keep their mouth shut. The fact that this broke when the NFL sent it out makes me think that they had no idea this was coming.
Yeah, I agree. And I think when we talk specifically about Russell Wilson's contract, there's no way in hell they thought that they would be in this position.
Yeah.
Just a few years after signing that deal. They thought this was a long-term quarterback. It didn't matter what the cap hit was. We found our guy for the future. And so maybe it was a little bit of lack of research or preparation, but they were like, forget all of that. We'll figure it out when we get there. We feel solid about what we're doing.
Yep, totally. Yeah, there we go. I think we move on. Arvada Luke again says, I find Russ's comments on wanting to win 2 Super Bowls disingenuous. And what he's referring to is he went on the I Am Athlete podcast last night, Brandon Marshall, and he basically said that's his goal. Next 5 years, he wants to win 2 Super Bowls, whether it's in Denver, whether it's somewhere else. He wants to go where he's wanted, all that sort of stuff. Arvada Luke says, as a player, the salary cap is not his problem, but he does have the ability to work with his contract to ensure the team can afford things like protection and weapons. That also seems to be what quarterbacks serious about winning will do. If he really wants to win here, then he should put his money where his mouth is. Maybe a year 2 in this offense would be an improvement, but we are an actions speak louder than words season right now.
Yeah, I just don't see how you – I mean, goals are great. Everybody has goals.
Yep.
My goals could be to be president of the United States in 2 years. Like, doesn't mean it's really feasible or that's going to happen. Like, but it's a goal for him. So I can't knock him that that's his goal. But do I think there's a clear path for him to win 2 Super Bowls in the next 5 years? No, I don't.
We got to fit this one fast. KW7, if Russ is gone, do we have the money to pull Kirk in?
No.
No, but that might not stop him anyway. I mean, we said before, Saints were in the worst salary cap position last year when they gave $40 million a year to Derek Carr.
You never know.
Yep.
Richest owners in football.
Yep. There you go. That's going to do it. If you want your questions answered, make sure that you are a diehard at thednvr.com. You can leave your comments in the post for this right there. Leave them under any podcast this upcoming week, and we'll hit them next Monday. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.